Hello to all of you and welcome to Graphaghans. I hope that I can help you through your journey in learning the art of Graphaghans. For this video, I want to help you with the basics of the stitches. Once you have made your chain, you will do your base row number 1. I usually do my chain a couple of stitches extra, just in case. I always count my base row twice to make sure that I have the correct number of half double crochets. Don't forget that those 3 stitches that you skipped when you started row 1 is to be counted as your first stitch. Once I have finished my base row, I may have a couple of extra chains left over. However, this is not a problem. We can just tighten it up and weave it in later. Never let that hold you back or confuse you in what you should do next. When you are crocheting, it is very important to keep the same tension all of the way through your work. Some may have a loose stitch, some may have a tighter stitch. None of us make exactly the same size stitches. In this photo here shows you how I hold my work. In this photo, when I flip my hand over, you will see that I keep the yarn going through my ring finger and my pinky. We all have our own ways. This is just my method. By always holding the same tension on your yarn, you will have even stitches. The last thing you want is to have tight stitches in one spot, loose stitches in another spot. It is very important to keep the same for a better finish. Once you do your base row, you need to decide which loop you're going to use. The front loop, the back loop, or go under both. Once you decide, always use that same method throughout the entire afghan, because it will make a difference on how it looks when you are finished. Once you get to the end of a row, you will always chain and turn. Please, please, please never cut your yarn at this point. A lot of people have questioned, what stitch do I go into once I turn? See the red arrow? That is where you will make your first half double crochet. The same stitch applies for scarves and pillows when you're using a single crochet stitch. Now that you have made your first stitch on the next row, this is what you may see. See the gap between the chain 3 and the stitch? I have been questioned about this so many times. This gap actually does come in handy. It gives just that extra bit of space when you're making the border. Either way, once you are finished and you wash and dry your afghan, you will not even be able to tell that gap was there. In this picture, I have made my stitches 3 different ways. On the bottom rows, I have used the front loop. In the middle rows, I used the back loop. On the top rows, I used both loops. It will make a difference which method you choose in how your finished work looks. If I am making an afghan and I have a lot of color changes, I always go through both loops. When you're using both loops, it will help you to hide the yarn when you're having to carry through a different color. You can see the rows in the middle have a ribbed effect from using only the back loops. Let's say you're working on an afghan that is 190 or more rows and you want to shrink down the finished size a bit. You can achieve this by using the back loops only. Just keep in mind the finished look and texture you will have. On this dragon afghan, I used the back loops only because of the number of rows. I believe it was close to 200. I didn't like the way it turned out, all because it had that ribbed effect. But I was proud of it, as was the recipient. I personally prefer not to use this method all of the time. I really hope these pictures help to guide you through your Graphagan journey. Please come join us in our Facebook Loopagans Custom Crochet group, where I post other tips, tricks, and how-tos. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day.